We begin our bulletin here. President Cyril Ramaphosa is attending the last day of the ANC Youth League's 26th National Elective Conference. The League's new top 6 leaders were elected on Saturday night, with Colin Malachi unopposed as president. Phumzile Mgcina has taken the reins as the League's first female deputy president. Additional members for the National Executive Committee were nominated from the floor today. It's the first time since 2015 that the ANC Youth League has elected new leaders. Our reporter, Moloko Moloto, has been following that story and joins me now for more on this. Moloko, I do understand that the president of the ANC did arrive earlier today. I'm curious to know what he is doing, given the fact that the conference has not concluded, and we do understand that nominations themselves have also not concluded. What's the latest?
Hello, Heidi Jokas. Well, I won't be able to answer as to what the president is currently doing, but what I know is that he is in the holding room. He arrived, I think, more than an hour ago. The expectation was that he was going to close this particular conference of the young people in the African National Congress. But of course, there are delays before they adjourned for a break about 30 minutes ago. Nomination for the 40 additional, not even 40. Yes, once they're finished electing, they must have 40 additional National Executive Committee members. However, they need to nominate, I think, up to 60, and all those 60 names will be on the ballot, and the delegates will then elect out of the 60 a total of 40. Now, that process stopped when they were at about 43. And we are going to hear when they return from a break whether the steering committee will decide to proceed with the nomination of the additional members or to call party president Cyril Ramaphosa to address them and leave them to continue with their business of nomination and election of additional members. But let's speak to some of the delegates here. I'm joined by Nkosinathi Gumede, who served in the NYTT that was in charge of the Youth League's affairs until last night, and he is from the Musadladla region in KwaZulu-Natal, the same region where the former ANC President Jacob Zuma belongs to. Now he joins me now. Thank you, sir, for your time. This delay that really has delayed this proceedings, voting for the National Executive Committee members hasn't started. You have also not discussed in detail the commission. How do you respond to this? Because some people are saying, oh, they look disorganized.
No, thank you very much. I think, one, it's a concern that the Congress has delayed so far, but you will understand that almost a decade we have been with no youth league. We have been tax team after tax team and after tax team. All of that has created instability to the organization. That's why now we are going to have a situation whereby you start the registration and then it's delayed because of number of issues, delegates arriving late and so forth, coming from far across the country. And all of those created, including those who disrupted the Congress, tried raising, manifesting concerns that are not there, destabilizing the registration process 3 times. By the way, those are the kind of the acts that costed us to be where we are, because we remember that the Congress should have started on Friday, but we have to start yesterday. All those things have to be taken into consideration, the distraction and what. We know very well there are people that have enjoyed a lot of time staying in an NYTT. We didn't want the ANC Youth League to have its structure so that it can champion the interest of young people in the country. And all of those things, they wanted to be in those NYTT, tax team after tax team. They are appointed, and then it became a fashionable that they will be part of an existing ANC Youth League. All those are creating instability, but also we know that some of them, they were in charge mobilizing people to distract the Congress. And then they speak to media and then they behave as if there is a halapalu and something wrong with the Congress. In fact, they are the ones who are doing wrong things, manifesting stories, manifesting people coming to distract Congress, and then now they are celebrating. They want to say these things, which is a failure. It's not a failure. It's their win, and they must enjoy it. But what I can show you, this Congress is going to conclude its business. The commission that we are referring to, we have tabled, in fact, the presentation to the plenary. If you remember, even at the National Conference of the African National Congress, we had to end up concluding the commissions through provinces. If even this Congress has to finalize its business and then go back to the provinces, we are going to consider that.
Okay, I want us to talk about some of the remarks made by specific people who spoke to us since yesterday. One of them, Sizophela Mkhize, who was serving in the NYTT as you did. And she was clear that processes were being rigged, using a very strong language that this is thievery, people are stealing conference. And she's not alone. There's a letter that has been written to the steering committee of the ANC that's been signed by some of the people that I suppose some of them were in the NYTT. Others, I remember the name of Tlanki Mohale and Anela Matununta. I think that's her surname. They are saying that these processes were really rigged. I'm sure you are aware of all those complaints. In the NYTT, these issues of the audit that some of them are saying that was not even discussed. What is the truth there?
I think some people must understand policies of the organization before they speak to media. You can't be a player in a ref. The issue of audits cannot rely to the structure, which is NYTT. There are auditors that audit the organization to qualify itself that it can go to the National Congress. Now, you can't tell me that you want to be audited by yourself, you present yourself. The only issue that they can present is an issue of credentials, which are adopted by the steering committee of the African National Congress and not presented to the NYTT or NEC. They are presented to the conference, and the conference adopts or rejects the credentials. And
Nkosinathi, sorry for interrupting. Was that the agreement? Because I understand that there was a meeting on Thursday here of the NYTT that went on until the early hours of Friday morning. And my understanding is that some of the NYTT members said, even in the WhatsApp group, to say, comrades, we agreed that we are going to have a meeting to discuss this issue of audit. And apparently that was never done.
I agree with that. They raised the issue of audit. But remember, audit was presented to us for the issue of consideration. Because remember, there are only 3 reports that the NYTT or National Executive Committee of the ANC Youth League must adopt before they are presented to the Congress of the ANC Youth League. That is a political report, organizational report, and financial report, which were adopted by the NYTT. Audit report is not even presented to the Congress. The only thing that is presented to the Congress are the credentials. Who adopts credentials? It's the steering committee. Who constitute the steering committee are the secretaries of the organization. We as the NYTT, we are a structure which receive reports from the steering committee. In this case, audit report was presented, I agree. There were minor mistakes, which I can quote. There is issue of Nkosi Pambata, there is issue of Tshwane region. Though these Mali failed audits, they were requested to produce the organizing team, try by all means to assist them, get evidence so that they can go to the Congress. They never produce anything that qualifies them to attend the Congress. Now, the organizer by then, who is the current Treasurer General of the ANC Youth League, Zwelo Masilela, presented that, not that he excluded them, but there is no delegate that is coming from these 2 regions. And that was the reason they were not part. And then these colleagues, they requested that that information must appear to auditor's report. And yesterday, when credentials were presented to the Congress, it was reflecting that these 2 regions had no delegation to this Congress.
Okay, let's talk about delegation. In this plenary today, there were instances when nominations were made from the floor. Of course, those who are nominated would require at least 25% of the delegates who have been permitted to be here. And in many instances, we have seen some of them failing to even meet the threshold. We have seen the former deputy president of the ANC Youth League and Rudy Pela from the elections committee saying that people have left, very few people remaining here. That on its own, in fact, as I was talking to one delegate here earlier, he's saying this ill discipline of people walking out of plenary, you will not see it in the EFF, for instance. And that contradiction for me, I think, was very interesting to say, why do you move out of your own conference as delegates of the ANC Youth League after so many years when you did not hold it?
No, thank you very much. I engaged a number of delegates myself. I asked them why they are outside. They raised the issue that they were starving, they are hungry. I'm sure if you were inside the planning, you heard some of them raising those issues. We never break. Since we started 10 o'clock up until now, we never break for lunch. And that was the reason that some of them, they went outside to get food and then they come back to the plenary. Hence now we've requested that the head of delegation, they must take their delegates to the dining hall, they have their lunch or dinner, and then they come back, we conclude the business of the day. But one of the things that you cannot run away from, when the ANC Youth League, the Congress is contested, there is this tendency of people that when they view that you are not supporting, you have to go back. So it's one of the elements that is manifesting itself in this Congress. But that cannot say the Congress is not going to proceed. The Congress is proceeding, but also another thing that must be taken into consideration, not necessarily that we are failing to reach the threshold. Young people have nominated people that they think that they must serve in the National Executive Committee of the ANC Youth League. And then the IEC want to take the number up to 60. Now, if delegates don't see the need why you must go to the 60, they think that 40...
Was that not a decision of the NYTT or of the conference?
No. Remember that even the nomination, you will distribute to the branches that they have to nominate up to 80 people. But branches can nominate 2 people, 3 people, and then they submit. Those are only people that are going to be considered as people who are nominated by branches. Even in the plenary like this, you can say you stop at 60, but that does not mean that it's a must that you must reach 60. If you got like 45 people or 50 people, even 40 people, you can close the nomination process, of which I think even when we come back, maybe they will do 2 or 3 nominations, and then they propose the close of nomination. Remember that Northwest already has proposed that there must be a close of nomination, but then there was a province that felt like, no, there was not a close nomination, of which we think we are engaging them now. Once they said, no, we agree, we allow them to do that nomination, and then I'm sure there will be a secondment of the closure, then we proceed with the Congress.
No, thank you so much. Gosnati Gumede, who was the member of the National Youth Task Team of the ANC Youth League that was in charge of the affairs of the league until last night, clarifying issues that some of his comrades were really complaining about yesterday. We don't know what will happen, but as you know, the party president, Cyril Ramaphosa, is here. I'm not too sure how far or how long he's prepared to stay in there, whether he will allow young people to finish with this nomination or he will come in to address them. We don't know what's going to happen so far. But yes, there's a concern that some of these delegates need to travel back home because this is the last day. Others going to even coastal provinces, the Western Cape, KZN, the Eastern Cape, and other provinces such as Limpopo and Mpumalanga.
Yeah, very interesting developments there, Moloko. We'll just have to wait and see what happens and how long the ANC president, Cyril Ramaphosa, will stick around for, given the fact that nominations are still underway and have not concluded. We'll definitely be checking in with you throughout the evening. That is our reporter, Moloko Moloto, out in Nasrec here in Johannesburg.